You know how much I used to spend on fungicides and plant tonics every season, more than I want to admit. And half the time the powdery mildew still showed up, the tomato leaves still yellowed, and I was back at the garden center buying something stronger. Then I learned that Korean farmers have been making one of the most effective plant treatments in the world from two things most of us throw away: rice wash water and a little bit of milk. No fancy equipment, no expensive ingredients, just fermentation, the same process that's been central to Korean culture for centuries. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to make LAB serum, the lactic acid bacteria solution that Korean natural farming practitioners use to suppress disease, improve nutrient uptake, and grow healthier plants than most commercial products can deliver. The whole process costs almost nothing, and you can start it tonight. I'll be honest, when I first heard about putting bacteria on my plants, I thought it sounded risky. Bacteria seemed like something you'd want to avoid, not cultivate. But then I learned more about Korean natural farming, a system developed by Master Cho Han-kyu over more than 50 years in South Korea. And I realized I had it backwards. The same lactic acid bacteria that make yogurt, sauerkraut, and kimchi safe and healthy are exactly what our gardens need. These beneficial microbes don't cause disease. They prevent it by outcompeting the harmful organisms that do. Korea has one of the world's most sophisticated fermentation traditions. They've been cultivating beneficial bacteria for centuries to preserve food, improve nutrition, and support health. Korean natural farming simply applies that same wisdom to agriculture. The bacteria that keep kimchi safe can keep your tomato leaves healthy. Once I understood that connection, I had to try it myself. Here's the science that makes this work. Your plant leaves and soil are covered in microorganisms, both helpful and harmful. When harmful fungi and bacteria colonize first, you get disease. But lactic acid bacteria produce compounds that inhibit those pathogens. When you spray LAB on your plants, you're essentially seeding the surfaces with beneficial microbes that crowd out the troublemakers. It's called competitive exclusion, and it's the same reason eating yogurt supports gut health. You're not killing the bad guys directly. You're filling the space with good guys so the bad guys can't establish. Beyond disease suppression, LAB also helps break down organic matter and makes nutrients more available to plant roots. It's a living fertilizer and a natural fungicide in one. Let me walk you through exactly how to make it. Start by rinsing rice. Any white rice works. Put a cup of dry rice in a bowl, add water, and swirl it around until the water turns cloudy and milky white. That cloudy water is full of starches and microorganisms. Pour it off into a glass jar, filling the jar about half full. Cover the jar with a cloth or paper towel secured with a rubber band. You want air exchange, but no flies or debris getting in. Set this jar in a cool, dark spot in your kitchen around 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit and leave it alone for 5 to 7 days. What's happening during this time is a natural fermentation. While bacteria and yeast are multiplying in that starchy water, you'll know it's ready when it smells sour, a bit like mild vinegar or slightly tangy. If it smells rotten or putrid, something went wrong and you should start over. But that sour fermented smell means you've successfully cultured a mix of microorganisms, including the lactic acid bacteria we want. Now comes the step that isolates the LAB from everything else. Take your fermented rice water and add it to fresh milk at a ratio of 1 part rice water to 10 parts milk. So if you have half a cup of rice water, add 5 cups of milk. Use regular whole milk, not ultra pasteurized if you can avoid it. Pour this mixture into a larger jar, cover it with a cloth, and let it sit at room temperature for another 5 to 7 days. Here's what happens. The lactic acid bacteria thrive on the milk sugars, while other organisms don't do as well. The milk will separate into curds floating on top and a clear yellowish liquid beneath. That yellowish serum at the bottom is your LAB, a concentrated solution of lactic acid bacteria. Carefully pour off or scoop out the curds. You can discard them or feed them to chickens if you have them. The clear serum underneath is what you're keeping. This is liquid gold for your garden. To preserve your lab serum so it keeps for months, add an equal amount of brown sugar or molasses. If you have 1 cup of serum, stir in 1 cup of brown sugar until dissolved. The sugar puts the bacteria into a dormant state where they stay alive but don't continue fermenting. Store this preserved lab in a glass jar with a loose lid in a cool, dark place. It will keep for 6 months to a year. When you're ready to use it, dilute the preserved LAB serum at a ratio of about 1,000 to 1 with water. That's roughly 1 teaspoon per gallon of water. Apply it as a foliar spray, misting your plant leaves thoroughly in the early morning or evening when the sun isn't intense. You can also use it as a soil drench around the base of plants. Apply weekly throughout the growing season for best results. Some Korean natural farming practitioners apply LAB even more frequently during disease pressure or humid conditions when fungal problems are most likely. Here's what most people get wrong with LAB. The first mistake is sealing the jars airtight during fermentation. The bacteria need some air exchange, so always use a cloth cover, not a tight lid. The second mistake is using ultra-pasteurized milk, which has been heated so aggressively that it doesn't support the bacteria growth you need. Regular pasteurized or raw milk works much better. The third mistake is expecting instant results. LAB works by building beneficial populations over time. Give it 3 to 4 weeks of consistent application before judging whether it's working. You'll notice fewer new disease spots, healthier looking foliage, and more vigorous growth as the microbial balance shifts in your favor. Here's a quick bonus use for your LAB serum. Add it to your compost pile at the same dilution, 1 teaspoon per gallon, and water it in. The lactic acid bacteria dramatically accelerate decomposition and help suppress the harmful organisms that can make compost smell bad. Your pile will break down faster, smell better, and produce finished compost that's already inoculated with beneficial microbes. That's the Korean natural farming LAB method. Rice wash water, fermented for a week, mixed with milk, and fermented again, preserved with sugar, and diluted for application. Total cost for a season's worth of plant tonic, maybe $1 or $2 for the sugar and milk. Compare that to what you'd spend on commercial fungicides and biostimulants. I was skeptical the first time I tried this. Now it's a permanent part of my gardening routine, and my disease problems have dropped dramatically. If this changed how you think about plant health, let me know in the comments. And if you want more Korean natural farming techniques, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for spending time with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.